It is time for Art in the AM. And today, it probably says up in the description of this video, I have the next ABCs of art, which is the letter I that we're going to be doing today. My voice is very hoarse this morning. And I'm going to tell you about a special celebration that's happening next week. I guess I could kind of be celebrating today, but it's going to happen next week, and I'm going to tell you more about that. But I am working today in this watercolor book. It is a 5.5 by 8.5. Should have drank more water before I started the video. I haven't talked very much this morning. And I'm going to be doing the letter I. And if you have been following along, I have been doing a different letter every day every Monday during 2026. And last week, I didn't finish it completely online, but I wanted to show, if you were watching last week, I did hue for the letter H, and I did tint, tone, and shade. And so I took all 6 of the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, and I did the tint, the tone, and the shade for each one of those colors. So I finished that, and I kind of noticed that my green and my blue especially were maybe a little bit more gray than they need to be, especially the green one. It's I can see green in it, but it's a lot of gray. So if you want to know more about hue, what that is, and tint and tone and shade, you can go watch, because I think I did like the first couple on the video and showed why you would want to have this and why having a book like this is helpful to be able to refer back to, so that you know the tints and the tones and the shades. And isn't there just something like, I don't know, just like so satisfying about having a little chart like this? Like I don't know, I love to create like little charts like that, and instead of just kind of like all over the place, just kind of having colors mixed on a paper, which I like to do that too. And I think I did that on the color page there. And you know, it's just kind of like all over mixing, which I like to do that too. But sometimes I just like to have the chart. So I realized that I didn't do the back of the pages. So I'm going to do the back of this one. And the word for today, hi Sue, hi Kathy. The word for today is ink. So while I'm taking another drink of water, tell me what you think of related to art when I say the word ink. Like, what do you think of? And I'm going to show you something too. I was thinking about this earlier with the ABCs of art, and it made me think back to another project where I had done the ABCs. So I found it right before the video. That was why I was a minute or two late, and I'll show that to you too. I just will tell you before I show it to you, I may get a little emotional showing it to you, and you'll see why when I show it to you. So for ink, I thought about, I'm picking art related words and words that I feel like maybe you might not know about. You might not, be familiar with. So Kathy says India ink, which is so interesting because that is not the first thing that I would think of when I think of ink. I think a lot more about acrylic inks, which I did not bring. Well, here's one right here. I keep these kind of close because I do use these quite a lot. So here's an acrylic ink in gold. I have a couple of metallic acrylic inks, and the acrylic inks are a lot of fun. India ink is actually the ink that I chose for today, and it looks kind of similar to this. It's in a same little bottle. Mine is Higgins, the brand name that I have, and it has this oh my goodness, this little dropper on there. So, and it's very pointy. Like it's smaller, I feel like. If I'm going to compare to, yeah, Sue says she thinks of acrylic ink. That's usually what I think of. The droppers on the acrylic inks, you can see they're not as detailed. They're not as, fine and pointed. So I wanted to do the India ink because it made me think about a lot of the projects that I did when I first started in art education. So I was taking a lot of the same classes as the fine art majors. I was majoring in art education to be an art teacher, but I was in the same classes as the fine artist, which I have to tell you was a little intimidating, especially coming from my background that I did not take art in high school. I'm now in like my 3rd year of college, and I'm in these classes with these people who are studying to be fine artists. Like it was a little intimidating. And we did projects with India ink. I had never heard of India ink before. I had no idea. There was so much that I learned in those first couple of years switching to art education that probably most of the other people knew about, and I did not know about. So India ink, we did a lot of projects with India ink, and when I think of India ink, I think in the same way as the Roy G. Biv, and the main colors, I think of it as a very saturated, very intense. It is a very black ink. It's very concentrated. And when I think about why we were using that versus acrylic paint or watercolor, or just something that might have been like a little bit more accessible, I started to understand the contrast that you get with India ink is just completely different. It is a completely different dynamic, like a different energy, just a different feel to it because it's so intense. So if you do not have some India ink, it's probably just a couple of dollars for this little container. And I've done some fun things with the India ink that I'll show you a little bit here. It's just one more thing that you could add to maybe what you're already using that will just make a different kind of contrast to your work. So before I show you a little bit about India ink, I started talking a little bit about being in art education, and you may not even know that I was an art teacher for a high school, and that I switched majors, and that I did not intend to go to college to start in art education. I actually started in a different major. All of those things you may not know. I'll talk about them every once in a while, but over the next 7 days, if you, magenta India ink. Sue, I don't even know that I've seen different colors of India ink like that. I do have magenta, quinacridone magenta acrylic ink. So yes, Kathy, it is waterproof, so that makes it completely different than some of the other inks and watercolors and things like that too. So over the next 7 days until next Monday, which is the celebration, and I will tell you more about that, I'm going to be sending an email, and you will see some posts here on my business page too, about my story, about how I got into art education and what my original major was, and how I taught high school, how, all of these things, because next Monday is a celebration of 6 years that I have had my business, which is just crazy to think about. 6 years since I started Creations of Studio 39, started doing these live videos, like all of these different things. So over the next 7 days, you will get an email, or you can come here to my page And you can, if you're on Facebook, and you can read a little bit more about my story leading up to next Monday at 10:30. I'm going to be doing a celebration here during the live video at 10:30 that I normally do. There will be an event on Facebook that I'm going to set up today, so you will get an invitation, probably depending on how many I can invite to that. You will get an email with the invitation directly to that event, and there will be some trivia that if you read the emails, you may know the answers to the trivia. There will be some prizes. I like to give away prizes during these celebrations. I think I've celebrated every year since I started my business, done some kind of a celebration. I will do a special tutorial, and I have some special announcements. I would like to know, as I'm turning down my camera here, and I'm going to take another drink of water. If you are watching, and I see some of you watching live right now, and you are a member of my mixed media membership, my Start Creating Mixed Media membership, you can just put member down in the comments, because my members in particular will get a little bit more behind the scenes. They will get a little bit more of what's coming before next Monday. Because if you are a member of my Start Creating membership, and I'll go ahead and turn my camera down here, and I'm going to show you a few things that I'm going to do with the India ink. If you are a member of my Start Creating membership, the best time to get in and be a member of that is now. Before the, I think the 16th is the date that I have, before the 16th of March, because coming in March, later in March, I'm going to be adding some things to the Start Creating membership that my members don't even know about yet. It really just kind of came about over the weekend. And you want to be in there. I will just say that. I'm going to share more next Monday here about why, but my members will find out before then. My members, and if you're on my email list, you'll probably get the email and you'll get a little behind the scenes. But my members are going to be getting a bonus that they don't even know about yet. So there you go, members. If you were watching, you're getting a first hand. I haven't even put it in the membership yet. I'm going to show you a couple of different things with this India ink. And one of them, I am just going to take a circle. And I'm going to show you some of the fun things that you can do with the India ink. And I'm just going to trace this circle. This is a lid from Peanuts. From some dry, that was not a very good circle there. From dry erase peanuts. Dry roasted peanuts. I'm taking another drink of water. So if you are a member of my Start Creating membership, I'm going to be doing a tutorial today. Inside there, once a month, I do a tutorial. And today, I provided some resources. The artist that I'm going to be talking about is Mary Cassatt. And I have a booklet of resources where I give a biography of the artist and some quotes and resources and the directions. And this one actually is coming with a cutout or tracer that you can use of the profile and a, do you call this a bonnet? Is that a bonnet? So all of those are already in the group. So I'm going to be doing this tutorial today. So if you decide that you want to become a member, you'll get access to that tutorial I'm doing today. So I'm going to take this circle that I traced here. I think that you can kind of see that. There's a little bit of a shadow. And I got some clean water. And I like to use a nice, like fluffy brush. Like a nice full brush that holds like a lot of water. And I'm just going to get this circle pretty wet. The water or the paper that I'm using is a watercolor paper, and it is 140 pounds, so it's pretty thick and it'll hold a lot of water. And so I just kind of got that wet, not, you know, the same amount of wetness. And because this has a dauber, it has the little dauber there, I'm going to, it doesn't squeeze very much right here, but I'm going to kind of squeeze it, and then I am going to dip it down into there and then like let go, and that will make the India ink travel up to the lid. And hopefully you will be able to see this. I don't want to tilt it because then it'll run, but the ink is going to travel to wherever the water is, and I just want you to just watch. I might have to do a close-up of that. I have a close-up one of a feather because it's so much fun to watch how it, and it's only going like where the water is. So I'm just kind of pressing out a little dot. There's a big concentration of water right there. Oh, and I can like move it around. So that's kind of fun. It just creates all of these, and look how intense the black is. I just love how it like feathers out and spreads around. And oh, it's kind of turning into like an earth, like a world. Oh, I didn't have water like along that edge right there. Let's play around with that a little bit. Okay, no, you can't see it that way. I think I'm going to put just one here in the middle. There's not as much water there in the middle, so it's not like spreading as much. I'm telling you what, if you just have like 2 minutes, just paint some water and play with some India ink, and it's just very satisfying. Just like very fun. I'm going to go ahead and kind of pull a little bit of this ink. So it's going to travel to wherever the water is. So I'm just going to kind of finish off that circle there and a little bit kind of over in here. And how fun is that? It kind of just in a couple of seconds creates like this. And I'm going to get some water on my brush and see if I can't make this move around a little bit. I might put a little bit more in there now that it's wet. So that's one of the fun things that I like to do, is just have the water on there, and because it has that little dauber on there, I just like to just kind of watch. Oh, I really like how that's creating like some little feathery marks there. And it starts to, what is the word that I'm thinking of with all of granulate. It starts to like granulate like around the edges and just creates like all of this like texture in there. Hi there, Sandy. So that is one way that you can play with acrylic ink or with India ink. And I have a video of a feather that I did that anytime that I come across it in my photos and my videos, I just watch it because it's just like mesmerizing really to just like watch the ink kind of spread around. So I will see if I can share that video and show just how the India ink travels where the water does. I mean, like watercolors, you know, it's the same idea, but the granulation that happens with the India ink is just very cool. So one of the other things that you can do with India ink, I have like a little lid here, and I'm going to, oh, I hit my stand. It made me like jump. I hit it with the India ink, I guess. So I'm going to take just a little squirt of the India ink and put it into my lid here, my palette, I guess if you will. And then I'm going to take that same fluffy brush. So if you were just joining live or watching the replay later and you did not catch at the beginning, I'm having a, look how nice that tip it makes there. I am having a celebration next, oh, Kathy remembers the feather, next Monday. So you want to watch next Monday at 10:30 a.m. And if you do not already get a text for this video, I send out a text at 10:30 as a reminder. Just let me know that you want on the text list, and I can, I'll put that in the description or the show notes like afterwards. I always put these videos over onto YouTube so you can watch them on YouTube, and it is there too. So you can see how much that little dot of ink kind of spread out there. And I'm kind of rolling my paintbrush in the ink. So I'm getting like quite a bit on there. And I like to start with kind of the point. And you can make just these beautiful like tree branches. And then because this has a point, one of the things that I like to do is just to create these like leaves. And I will just kind of, you can see how intense the black is. And I just have a little bit of water on my brush. Can I go back into that one? And I just kind of do them a little bit like away from the edge. And then I'll go back in and put like the stem or the, you know, like where it attaches. And I'll show you this up close because one of the things that I like is it creates some different variations of the, and I'm just kind of pressing down and then like lifting up. Oh, I really like that one, what that did. And you can kind of move it around. You know, I could take and make that tip of it a little pointier. And then what I come in and do is I start at the branch because that's where it would grow, and I come up and look just with that little tiny point. Look how delicate and detailed that is. And I can kind of come all the way up. I think actually I'm going to do that. Kind of come all the way up into the leaf there. And it, you know, it's fine with me if it kind of jumps around. So I don't press down very hard. But look how, I don't know, these are two of my favorite ways to work with India ink, and it's just such an intense black. It's just so much different than an acrylic paint or what you could get with a watercolor or acrylic paint or anything like that. And just the variations, because it's an ink, of the dark to light and the granulation and all of those. So Sandy did not get the text. I will check because I remember someone last week saying they did not get the text, and I went in and there was some kind of oh, what do you want to call it? Oh my gosh, I can't think of, I am not thinking of words this morning. Permission. There was some kind of a permission that wasn't checked or something. So I'm just making sure that I rinse off my brushes really well. You can definitely play around with India ink more, and I feel like it is, there's a specific, and I don't know right off, I didn't look this up, a specific like Oriental way of using India ink and the lettering and things. It's just, yeah. But these are two of my favorite ways to use India ink, is kind of with water already on there and just letting it kind of like do its thing, but then doing this really detailed and, you know, kind of vines and things like that. And it's just so simple, but you couldn't get that with, you might be able to get close with watercolor, but you're never going to get this intense black like that with watercolor. So that's why I like using those. And I pretty much use up all of my ink. There's just a little bit left on there. And you know, I could do some other things on there to finish that up. And I feel like even when I have some of this India ink in a palette like this, even afterwards, I can add some water to it and I can kind of pick up some of that black. So I feel like it lasts for a long time too. So Sandy, I will check on the text message and making sure that you are, like, you have all the permissions and, you know, whatever. Or I'll just put the link for you to sign up again if you think that you already have. But I wanted to show you a project that I had done probably 25 years ago. So yeah, the bamboo stick, I have not, but I know that that is the, like with the, I feel like it's Japanese, like the Japanese using the India ink and their lettering, you know, it is very conducive to like using a bamboo stick like that. And I'm sure in college we did experiment a little bit more, you know, just sticks and things like that. And so I probably do have some of those. I'll look through some of my college artwork to see if I have some of those. But this particular project that I did was when my oldest son was probably like starting school and he was learning his ABCs. And at the time I was also scrapbooking, and I decided to make an ABC book for him. And I thought about that this morning, and I hadn't thought about it for a long time. And I thought, well, maybe I gave that to someone whose kid was learning their ABCs, because I don't remember if I have it or not. And I went and looked with my scrapbook, and I do have it. And I thought that it was smaller. It's actually like an 8x10 book. And let me just tell you, tell me if you've ever done scrapbooking, like 20 plus years ago when it was popular. These are Creative Memories books, which is what I used. And I had learned to do kind of simpler pages. This ABC book was not one of those. And I became borderline kind of obsessed with finding the things to add to the pages. So the one in particular that I was curious about seeing again was the letter X, because there are not too many words that start with the letter X. But I was just going to show you, and it is remembering all the different things that I did in this book here. I mean, even look at just the letters. Oh, get the glare because of the plastic. You know, just adding the different things to the letters that also start with the letter. So I have a bee and the bear and all this, the butterflies on there. Like even the letters, I added those on there. And, oh, so I have a date. I have a date in here. And it says I completed it on July 1st of 1999. That was when I created this. And I have each one of the pages, let me flip over, filled with pictures when they made sense, the letters and all of the different things on there, and you know, all of the different stickers that I could find that start with the letter B, you know, and whatever letters on there. So we would use this when we were going through and reading, and he would be able to point out the things that were on there. I don't know that I'm going to be able to look at too many pages because he is 29 now, and I forgot that there are pictures of him in here. And oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm just going to go to the letter X because I won't be able to pull up all of this. I also did numbers in the back, and I did like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, you know, and I had, look at the elephants. Look at how cute the elephants are with the little hearts for the ears, right? The little circles for the spiders. So much work. Okay, let me go to the letter X. I thought that I remembered someone giving me an X-ray, but I actually got a sticker. So look, it's a little sticker that shows the X-ray. And I have a xylophone, the crossing, the X's in the fence there. So the exclamation point, that's not exactly an X, right? So I just kind of wanted to show you that because when I was thinking about the ABCs, I hadn't looked up that book in a while, and now I'm going to have to take a little bit of time to go through and look at that. So next Monday, I'm going to have an event. You will get an email if you're on my email list. Look for the event here on my page. It'll be sometime this afternoon, and I'll try to invite people however Facebook lets me do that. But definitely look in your email. And once I get the event, I'll put it here in the description of this video too. But next Monday at 10:30 a.m., I'm going to be doing a celebration for 6 years of being in business, because it's kind of a big deal. And I'm going to have some trivia, some prizes, and leading up to next Monday, I'm going to have emails of my story of how I got to that 6 years. Some surprising things probably, maybe that you didn't know about, and just telling a little bit more of my story of how I got there and just different things that have happened. So that'll be next Monday. I'm going to have a special tutorial, and there is going to be a special workshop that I'm going to be releasing. And if you're in my Start Creating Mixed Media membership, where I'm going to be doing a lesson today on Mary Cassatt, I'm going to be sharing inside that group a little bit more of what that workshop is, why you want to be in the membership before I do that workshop, and just some special surprises and things that I have too. So I don't even know that I have all of them figured out. I want to show you how this India ink thing here dried, this earth. It's almost completely dry now, but just look at all the different little interesting, I'm telling you, if you do not have some India ink, that took me all of 2 minutes to play with that. And then, doing some of these, you could add that to anything and it would just be so dramatic and detailed and just so much fun to play with. I'm going to be doing the letter J next week, special tutorial for that. And I'll be telling you more about the workshop. I'll be sharing some trivia. It's going to be a fun event, probably a little bit longer than I normally do because of the prizes and the trivia. And that will be next Monday at 10:30. Look for an event. Look in your email for a special invitation to the event, and be prepared for some other surprises. So I will see you then. Have a great week.